Good morning, everybody. We are out here, Rat Race Rugged, braving the elements here in beautiful Pinellas County, Florida, for another one of our interview series with Rat Race Rugged. We are talking today with Collin Kaplowitz. Am I saying that right?
Correct, yep.
Great. So Collin and I know each other because we both have full-time jobs, careers that we're doing. I know in addition to all of the other stuff, that he is up every Tuesday at least 7:30 a.m., if not earlier, for our weekly networking meeting. So, plus he does a whole lot of other stuff, and he'll tell us about that. He's also going to tell us about the fight that he's got coming up. He's training for and is going to be competing in February, in about 6 weeks from now. By the time we're doing this, it might be less than 6 weeks. There will be links in the bottom, and we'll take it from there. So, Collin, like I said, we know each other through our Tuesday morning NPI networking meeting, and we were kind of chatting earlier this week, and you had mentioned that you were going to be training for a fight, and then we actually got the challenge to do for part of what we're supposed to be doing to get out and meet our team members is one-on-one, so this seemed like a perfect thing to do. So tell us about you. Tell us a little bit about, what you want us to know about you, like where you're from, what you do for a living, kind of your training. Obviously, you're going to be competing in a fight coming up here real soon, so that's taking a lot of effort. But obviously, like the rest of us, you got to keep a roof over your head, got to work full time to do that. So tell us all about that. Tell us what the rat race looks like for you.
Absolutely. Well, to start off, I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. I moved to Florida when in 2016.
Okay.
So about 5 years ago, coming up on, and so I've been doing mixed martial arts since I was 22.
Okay.
I forget what year that was. I think 2012. I'm 28 now, almost 29. So, I actually got my first fight very quickly of training. I got my first fight within 3 months of training, which is pretty much unheard of. A lot of people train about a year until they get into that stuff. But I won the second round by triangle choke, and it just kind of came naturally to me. So it's something I've always loved to do, and it's always been a passion of mine really since I've started.
Great. So you found it, you started training, you got the bug, and then you kind of like stayed with it, ever since, so to speak.
Yeah, pretty much. There's been a couple times where I've taken some time off. A year is my biggest layoff, and that was the most recent because I got pretty unmotivated last year. I had a guy that I cut weight for. I made 155 pounds, and he just didn't show up to weigh-ins.
Wow.
So,
and then, so before, how, just so that people understand how, what a challenge that is, tell us, how tall you are and what you normally weigh, so they know what you had to get down to in order to, weigh in at 155 and fight this guy.
All right, right before I go into that, I just want to say that I got motivated because my job is extremely physical on top of training.
Yeah.
So, but in those regards, at the time, I was walking around about 175 pounds.
Okay.
So it was about a 20-pound cut, and I don't like to diet very much.
Sure.
Not gonna lie, I'm doing very good for this one, but so my diet was a little bit rough back then, but I made weight fairly easy. I've done it 6 times now, and this time was fairly the easiest because I knew I had to diet and everything like that. So anyway, a lot of people don't know with fighting, it's a lot of dehydration when it comes to cutting weight.
Yeah.
So trying to fit that into my schedule with work and everything, it's just very hard to do.
Absolutely. So just to put it in, before we get into what it is you do, just for the audience, 20 pounds might not sound like a lot, but when you're talking about 175, for you to go from 175 to 155 is a totally different thing for somebody who is say 250 and looking to go down to 230 and saying that look at me, I just lost 20 pounds. So when you don't have that much of it to lose, that's the struggle, because that percentage of body mass. But talking about the dehydration, it's a kind of a good thing to get into, because that's a challenge, obviously, when you're going to tell us what it is, where we live, and what it is you do every day.
Yeah. So, like I said, I do tree work, and it's being outside, especially in the Florida heat.
Yeah.
You do nothing but sweat all day, so you need to stay plenty hydrated. And you don't start the dehydration until about 5 days out from the fight.
Right.
I like to do.
But you can't take 5 days off of work before.
No, absolutely not. No. Thank God, not everybody can do this, but I have a boss that used to box, and he loves the fact that I compete and stuff like that, so he works with me. So the last fight that the guy didn't show up to, I worked until Wednesday, but I thought I could make it through. Wednesday came around, I was already in the middle of a water cut because the weigh-ins were on Friday, so he let me go home halfway through the day. I was very dizzy, it was very hot outside, not a fun time.
Yeah, but that's just kind of the adversity. So kind of just for all of the people out there that are listening, it's like this guy's got to go out work in the sun every day, but he's still got something that he wants to do. He's still got keeps himself rugged enough to be able to do that while working dehydration into the mix when he's already dehydrated just based on his normal day-to-day activity.
Oh, yeah.
So that's cool. So we know what you do all day.
Okay.
And just a little bit more about the job, because you lead a crew as well. So it's, in addition to being physical, you've got all of the management, mental aspects of having to deal with manage, lead, direct, and all of that kind of stuff. Which just adds more excuses that you could have to say, screw it, I don't want to train or fight anymore. So, but you do it anyway. So tell us a little bit about. You kind of told us a little bit about what keeps you going with it, but tell us about. As you're looking at being about 6 weeks out from a fight now, what kind of training, in addition to your work schedule, what kind of training do you do on, a daily or weekly basis, that works into all of that?
Okay, it's definitely a daily basis. I try to keep it at most 1 day off for recovery per week, and even then I'll usually go out for like a brisk jog. Mm-hmm. For example, today I'm going to just go on a little, probably a 2-mile run and not do anything else.
Right.
But throughout the week, Monday through Friday, I am in the gym after work. I work about 10-hour days typically,
Sure.
And then I get home, and then I drive 45 minutes to the gym just to train, and I'm there for about 3 hours.
Where's the gym at?
In Tampa.
Okay, so yeah, you're driving you got a good distance after you are done working to go over there and then go home afterwards. Correct. So that adds into the mix of the 10-hour workday.
Yeah, exactly. So pretty much my day, I leave my house about 6:45, and I get home just to shower, go to training, and I get back around 9:30 p.m.
Great. So, and anything else, with the training that what are you doing? Are you running? Are you lifting? Are you sparring? Tell us a little bit about what actually it is you're doing when you're getting into the gym.
All right, I am currently not lifting because this whole year off that I took off, I was powerlifting.
Okay.
It's something else that I really enjoy doing. I like to lift heavy weights, and it got me really bulky. And a lot of people also don't know muscle's bad for fighting.
Right.
Sometimes people see people and they see they're very muscular and they get kind of intimidated. Mm-hmm. I'm more intimidated of the smaller guys, honestly.
Gotcha.
But so right now we have 8 people from our gym fighting, so it's pretty balls to the wall right now, if I could say. And so Mondays and Wednesdays, we start with a very intense wrestling class, and then the second class is jiu-jitsu, which usually he teaches about 2 techniques, and then we do nothing but rolling the rest of the hour and a half.
Okay.
So
that's intense.
Yeah, usually we get a good hour straight of rolling, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's harder for me to make the first class because typically those are the days I work a little longer for some reason. But the first class is just a basic striking class. My coach is a taekwondo black belt, and I'm not a taekwondo guy.
Gotcha.
But he also incorporates a lot of, so the class is technically taekwondo, but he incorporates a lot of boxing and Muay Thai and stuff into that. Yeah, exactly. And I started training in Ohio, which we did straight Muay Thai, which he doesn't do here. But the way his striking, it works for me because maybe I can't do all the kicks, but he also does a lot of striking and things that I can do.
Okay.
As well, I mean, everyone's different in their styles of fighting, so he tries to make something for everybody.
Gotcha.
And he does very well with it. And then the second class that follows it is MMA, which every Tuesday we spar in the gym. It's just pretty much an hour of sparring up until the fight. Okay. So the first class is technique, second class is all sparring. And same with Thursday, but Thursdays we also have multiple gyms coming in, so there's also different faces coming in, and there's always a little bit more of an, I guess you can say, kind of an ego when it comes to it, because when you're sparring someone from a different gym, you don't really want to lose.
Right, and you never know what kind of beating you're going to take and have to go to work the next day. So
correct.
That goes into it. Right on, man. So you got the fight coming up. We're sitting here now, it's January 10th, whenever anybody's watching this. But you've got it coming up, you said February 20th, so it's just about 6 weeks from now. We know it's going to be in Tampa, but we don't know where. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, correct. I can find out this week. I don't know the exact location, but I believe. Well, yeah, no, it's 100% going to be.
Okay, it's 100% going to be in Tampa. Before, when we drop the video, all of the links there's going to be written up in the description. All the links and everything are going to be there, so that if you're local and you want to go check it out, there's going to be the opportunity to do that. And if you just want to check it out and see what it's all about, you're going to be able to do that too. So before we kind of wrap everything up with this, you talked about you talked about what you do for a living, talked about your training, talked about your passion for fighting.
Mm-hmm.
With all the stuff that you've got going on, just with the demands of work, do you think you've missed anything, or is there anything you want to add in terms of finding your why to give you the motivation to continue to train, to continue to be at work at 6:30 every morning and not get home till 9:30 to go ahead and do that fight? Is there anything else that you would want to share about what it is that gives you the drive to go ahead and do that?
Well, finding your why is a big thing about fighting. It's not for everybody.
Sure.
Typically, I would say 90% of the fighters you see come from trauma in the past, and me being one of them. I've had some things happen in my life that made me kind of want to put my focus onto something, and I just fell into fighting. For example, my dad passed away when I was 8 years old. He committed suicide. That was one thing. So I never really mourned on it, but I did grow up with my mom, and my sister was basically the one that raised me, because my mom tried to raise me. She tried to work full time. She was always a great mom. She just wasn't around a lot.
Full-time job.
So and then my sister that raised me also ended up committing suicide when I was 19, when I was living with her. So it's a little bit of a demon in my life that kind of holds on to me.
Sure.
So, and I was always getting into trouble at that time in my life between my dad and my sister. I never want to use it as an excuse, but but there's something that clicked when my sister passed away. I was like, I don't want to live like this anymore, and that's kind of when I found MMA, and I created a family through it.
Excellent.
Yeah, so
that's really cool.
And it's always the best people I've ever met in my life have been from MMA. So
awesome. Well, that's good stuff, man. This is I'm just starting out doing these interview series, and they might not go in this order, but you're the third one that I'm doing. Based on, I definitely want to include the links. I don't know where you're going to fall into the mix in terms of when I drop the video, but just in terms of the previous two that I've done, people have really, have amazed me at the stuff that, when it kind of like, I knew that they had something that they were interested in doing beside, that they found, that extra whatever that it took to, for lack of a better, whatever it was for them. One of the guys that I was talking to, like, he's a musician, but it's, and he serves and all of that, but it's like he had to find that extra, whatever the why to kind of keep going. And, same thing with the first guy, there's Luke, and then there's Joe that I talked to for anybody watching the series, and it's like, I've been amazed at the stuff that people have shared and been willing to put out there, and so I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you've got anything else like that, we'll promote the fight on there for you. Collin Kaplowitz fighting soon in Tampa, Florida, February 20th. Keep an eye out on that. Check out the links. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for sharing. And today's play update, so go Browns.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, man.
Go Browns.
All right. No, that's perfect, man.